Hello again, my name's Daniel and this is my channel, Guilty Feet I've Got No Rhythm. Today I'm going to do the Could Do Better book tag, which was originated by CJ Reeds and in which I was tagged by Hannah at Let's Talk About Books Baby. It gives me an opportunity to pull down a bunch of books from the shelves and examine their covers and talk about them and maybe trash a couple of them. I've prepared the trusty fart gun if any of them need to be farted off the screen, the fun part is after I've done all this I get to put them back on the shelves because nerd. So let's start with the first prompt, which is say it, don't spray it, cover with the most offensive use of type. Yeah, I'm not sure about this one, but there's a lot going on here, and it's a book I love. This is extremely loud. I get the title wrong every single time, which is a problem for a book. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. If you tied me down and tortured me, I would get it wrong, by Jonathan Safran Foer. I'm a big fan of Jonathan Safran Foer. This is a way too long book title, so that automatically creates problems for the designer of your book cover. And in fact, his name is way too long. Jonathan Safran Foer is too long for anyone to have a name, any author. So I think that's double a challenge for the book author, and they've solved it in a very sort of crudely typographical manner. They've also put the author of the international bestseller Everything is Illuminated. They've shoved a novel on the thumb there. I don't know why American novels feel the need to announce the fact they're a novel. You don't see that very often on the English versions, although this was a UK cover, I think, so maybe I'm wrong, but I always find it odd when you have to announce that you're a novel. This was of a piece with his first book was Everything is Illuminated, which was also sort of typographical, and that went out on the back. This is this was a book club edition that I got, so I don't know if that's how close that is to the thing, but I think I've seen actual paperbacks like this. A lot going on there. Not sure it's fart worthy, but I kind of like it. The book itself was terrific. I enjoyed the first novel. I enjoyed this. His third book, Here I Am, I enjoyed as well. I've lent that to somebody. This was a book actually I finished on a plane journey, where I was so helplessly crying, I think at some point rather noisily and messily, when I finished this book and sat it down and was breathing very deeply, and the air steward came over, stewardess, the flight attendant, I think is the correct term. The flight attendant came over to ask me if everything was all right, because I was in such a state, and I really wasn't. Terrific book. I'm not sure about the cover. I have another choice here that I picked up, which is less about the font and more about what it's saying. So, I mean, I'm grateful for the fact that the books don't face this way out on the shelf, but you are pretty much, you get that, it's in your face. I would say when people come to the apartment, and sometimes they're just browsing and admiring the books, and sometimes they're looking for something to borrow, I would say 3 out of 5 people will stop and take this in and will either comment or very ostentatiously not comment. There's a lot. Right, that's a lot. The book itself, I think, was a bit disappointing. If you're familiar with I Love Dick, they actually made this into a TV show with Kevin Bacon, I think was. But I haven't seen the TV show. The book itself, I think, I don't want to be dismissive. I felt it was trying a bit too hard. But if you're keen, it's worth a read. I guess in contrast this, I thought another book, if we're talking about sort of use of fonts, I've got this outstanding collection, 79 short essays on design. If you have any interest in design, typographical design, fonts, all sorts of things, then this is an absolutely outstanding collection by Michael Byrute, who I think was the founder of the Pentagram Design Agency in New York. And this is exactly what it says, 79 short essays on design. Each of the essays in the book is written and printed in a different font, and on the cover you actually get, those are the titles of the essays, and it continues on the back. I love this functional, clear, telling you exactly what's inside. You can see each title is in a different font as the essays, same font as the essays. I like this. It's one of these naked hardbacks with no dust cover. I like that as well. I often just take this down from the shelf because it's nice to hold and touch, and then you can flick through. The essays are very short, so there is 79 essays in there, many of them 2-3 pages long, all of them fascinating. Like, I learned tons of stuff in this. For example, I first encountered Massimo. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's Vignelli. It's written, but as he's of Italian origin, it may be Vignelli. He was the designer who came up with the design for the New York subway map, and then all the fonts that's used in that. He did that whole project, and he's famous in that design sort of slash architecture slash design world in New York, and there are a couple of essays on his contributions in this, which is great. If you have any interest at all, I really recommend this, and I thought that was a cover that is really giving you font. 2, she's serving Reese's Book Club, cover with the most commercial book club energy. So I without taking down books that were actually in Reese's Book Club or Oprah's Book Club, I dug this up because this is how much. This is pre-Oprah and pre-Reese Witherspoon, so this is from about 20 years ago. This is The Pilot's Wife by Anita Shreve. I'm not sure why I picked this up. I remember not enjoying it very much. I think the pilot is killed. And the pilot's wife finds out some stories about him after he's dead. But that cover is so Martha's Vineyard, looking out over the sea, and it's so, I don't know. This is the kind of thing that even when I picked it up, I thought, well, that's a bit not marketed to me, but I'll give it a go. And I didn't super enjoy that. And that, to me, that's everything Oprah-y. You know, the sky, the clouds, the looking out to sea, no actual human beings at all. And I not that I think you need to have a human being in every book, but that was just suitably vague. Another similar example, again, this might have been an Oprah book, but not a Reese Witherspoon pick, I don't think. Maybe it was. Could well have been. This was the intriguingly titled for English speakers, Our Souls at Night. A terrible title if you speak British English. Totally went over the head of the American publishers, obviously. It's a great book. Ken Haruf is fantastic. I read one of his novels, Plain Song, which was just a terrific novel, and this is a very slim but beautiful story about an older couple finding each other late in life, and then what happens and how their relationship plays out. They've made a TV movie about this with Jane Fonda and Robert Redford, and if you have any love at all for Barefoot in the Park, where Jane Fonda and Robert Redford made that movie, I think in their 20s. Jane Fonda is beautiful. Robert Redford is even more beautiful, and it's a funny movie. Neil Simon script, a beautiful movie, Barefoot in the Park, and to see them 60 odd years later, when they make this movie, they're in their late 70s. Fonda and Redford, it might be Robert Redford's last role, or one of the very last things that he makes. And I love that symmetry of coming together and 60 years apart, and they're both still beautiful in it. It's a beautiful story, worth your time. 3, Yes Girl, Give Us Nothing, cover with seemingly no energy put into it. Well, I took this a slightly different direction because I love a bit of minimalism. I'm a big fan of less is more, and so I've gone for a few design classics here that I think are minimalist. Famously, J.D. Salinger would not approve any art on any of his covers, so that the American cover for A Catcher in the Rye, that famous orange yellow tree, whatever it is the only cover that you'll see, and everything else he wouldn't have anything. So the edition I have, for example, of For Esme with Love and Squalor is this, and I have something similar for Franny and Zooey, and something similar for Seymour and Introduction and Race High the Roof Beam Carpenters. But I've picked this one because this was a revelation to me. I know that people can go either way on Catcher in the Rye. I changed my life, and so I fell down the Salinger rabbit hole and read everything else he'd done, and work about him, and this was the thing that sold it to me. After I decided to explore more Salinger, I picked up Fresno with Love and Squalor, and the first story in this is A Perfect Day for Banana Fish. I believe it's the first story. Maybe I'll make that. Yeah, A Perfect Day for Banana Fish. Whatever your feelings about Salinger, I would urge you. And if you either because you loved it and decided you never wanted to read anything else by him, or you hated it and decided you're never going to read anything else by him, I would urge you to take the time and just read the short story A Perfect Day for Banana Fish. It broke me in a way that very few things have broken me, because I had no idea that what happened was going to happen. Seymour. Then also another design classic, the Penguin, the old Penguins, where the fiction was the orange covers with nothing but the title. I guess this was before they had the ability to print images or drawings in a very limited way. So the old early novels and fiction were the orange, the philosophy was in blue, and the crime books were green. This is a Chandler. This is one of the Philip Marlowe novels, The High Window, and I love. That's a design classic. So yes, girl, it's giving me nothing, but it's giving me everything. I would, if I could, I would buy pristine copies of every single one of these, the crime books they put out, and I would have all those orange novels as well. And I've seen them in secondhand stores now, and they go in good condition. They fetch a premium. When of course when they were sold, they were $2 and $6. There. Now, what I love about this on the cover, this actually has a tagline. Often that they don't always have taglines. Marlowe tough, Marlowe wise, Marlowe numismatist. Yeah. Whoever was in the marketing department that week who said, you know what, we're going to stick on the cover. You know, we know he's tough, we know he's wise, we know he's got this errant knight thing going on. Marlowe numismatist. That's what's going to sell this one, and it did. It's great. And then my final minimalist design classic is actually an entire imprint. There's an independent publisher in the UK called Fitzcarraldo that publish fiction and non-fiction. Among their fiction, there's a lot of works in translation, but not exclusively so. And they put them out in these fantastically austere editions. So if you see an American publication of Moving Kings, it will look like a normal book with a proper cover and design. And the Fitzcarraldo books, there's another one. So this is Minor Detail, translated from the Arabic. This is written by Adanya Shibley, translated by Elizabeth Jacquet, and then this is Moving Kings, which was written in English. And they all look like this. They've got these French flaps, deep French flaps, and I don't know if you can see on the cover, there's the, let me try and catch that. Yes, the logo is embossed on the cover there, the logo that we see there, the Fitzcarraldo logo. I love these. Now, I saw when Mark Nash took us recently into his shed, I saw he had several of these lined up together, and I don't mind that, but I file my books by alphabetically by author's name, so I've got 4 of these so far dotted around. The non-fiction, so this is the fiction, is in the blue. I don't have it in the non-fiction yet, but the non-fiction is all in white, so even more beautiful. I guess they get a bit grubby, but still beautiful. It's the closest I've come. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but the closest I've come is to getting a subscription where they'll just send you once a quarter, or every time there's a new publication, they'll send you the latest one, because it's very quickly becoming for me at least, a sign of excellence. I've read 4 of their fiction publications. They have in the UK they publish Olga Tokarczuk, the Nobel Prize winner, Polish Nobel Prize winner. So I read one of hers. So they have some quality work, and they are becoming a sign of quality. At this stage, if someone handed me something by Fitzcarraldo, I would certainly give it a go. Terrific. A face only a mother could love. This is number 4. A cover so hideous, but the book is so good you can't help but keep it around. So again, this is not necessarily but it is problematic. I don't even know if you could pick that up, but if you stare at it long enough, you will get a migraine. A Naked Singularity by Sergio de la Pava. Pava. This actually is blurbed by a gentleman called Steve Donoghue, who was you may have come across on BookTube. Inside the book, there's another page like that. Again, ooh, you are feeling sleepy. It's a lot going on that cover. I don't hate it, but it's a lot. And then you've got the shocking pink on the back. This is published by University of Chicago Press. This flew under the radar. I think it'd been published a couple of years. I think it was self-published originally, and nobody heard of it or bought it. And then it got picked up by University of Chicago Press, and then it slowly, after a number of years, it got noticed, and I think won an award later on. It's absolutely outstanding. I don't even want to talk to you about it because it would be maybe a tough sell. It's a contemporary novel. It's about a lawyer in New York and the complexities of being a lawyer in New York. But really one of the great finds, if you ever come across this and decide to commit to it. It's 670 odd pages, but just the reason why we read books is to discover stuff like A Naked Singularity. I would urge you to try it out if you get the opportunity. Another example of something where there's a lot going on. You know what? I love George Saunders, really, but that is a lot. It's a book of essays, The Brain Dead Megaphone. Lots of colours, different people there. It's got the spine. It's got all the rainbow goes onto the back there. There's just a lot happening, George. Sorry, I don't want to stick my finger over the author picture. A lot going on, making that cover hard to love. I like George Saunders, and these essays were terrific, but that's hard. Take one thing off before leaving the house, cover that could use one less element. So I really like this. This is called You Too Can Have a Body Like Mine by Alexandra Kleeman. It's a weirdo, odd bit of fiction. There's a quote here on the back that says it's Thomas Pynchon, David Foster Wallace, Don DeLillo, Haruki Murakami, and no one seems to consider what a feminine equivalent might be, and this is it. I think it's better than some of those, not as good as others. But I love the ambition here. I love the fact that it's set up obviously like a magazine cover. There's Zadie Smith again. I think she blurbed 2 or 3 of these books. She loves a good blurb, Zadie. But also Daily Mail, not selling it to me with Daily Mail. And then you've got Elle Magazine and The Observer. We like that. I like that. I like the whole thing. The exploding face. So it's a satire on consumerism and I guess being sold things. So I get it, but it's just a bit too much explodey on the front, and then there's the I don't know what's going on. This has been eaten by mold or something there on the back. So I actually I like this book. Again, it's one of those times where it was a big swing, and I would rather read something that is swinging and going for it, even if it's not wholly successful, than something that is just reads like every other book written by someone on an MFA program. This was something really different, and I'll definitely be looking out for Ms. Kleeman. Another one of a similar vein, actually. Also, this was a first novel. I've got Stephen Florida here by Gabe Habash. Hanya Nagahara blurbing on the top, and this came to me. This was may have even been made it to the actual tournament of books, or if it wasn't longlisted, I think it was shortlisted. I think it made it to the tournament. Purple and yellow, great. We learned in school that these are primary and secondary colours that go together: blue and orange, purple and yellow, red and green. So I like that. You got the name there, and his name. He's a first-time novelist, so we don't really know about him. Stephen Florida is the name of the book, by Gabe Habash. Stephen Florida is an oddball character who's a college wrestler, obsessed with wrestling, obsessed with winning the tournament that's going to come at the end of the season, and living a very weird outsider life in his college because he's so focused on the wrestling. And all that's going on, and you've got this apex predator giving you the eye. Love that, love those eyes. And not so keen on picking your nose with your tongue. I think that may be a bit too much. Steve, Mr. Florida, probably, if he's a wrestler, you want to give him the respect he's otherwise he'll take it out of you. A great, again, a swing, big swing. I don't think it's a perfect novel by any stretch, but I love the ambition of it. It's quirky. It's very different. This is from a couple of years ago, 2017 maybe. I got this in 2018. That came out in 2017. I don't know if it's disappeared off people's radar, but if you're looking for something quirky and different, Stephen Florida fits the bill. Finally, Hype Beast cover that is clearly going for all the trends at the same time. Yeah, I don't know if I got this right, but here's a couple of things which I think is just too much going on. The first one, again, this is another one of these super long titles, so already difficult for the book design. This is Elif Shafak's 10 minutes 38 seconds in this strange world. This was also shortlisted for the Booker Prize 2019. So they've got all this ribbon going on because they've got this ridiculously long title that has to go over all the ribbons. They clearly built in this extra ribbon at the top, which they've used for shortlisted for the Booker Prize. I guess they were going to put a pull quote on that if it didn't get shortlisted. And yeah, I don't mind. There's the gold there. You can see the gold. The gold goes on the back. You've got the blue and the blue and the greenish blue and the gold and the ribbons and the words. Like, it's such a big title that on the spine you can't even fit it all in. It has to go. And there's a lot going on there, isn't there? I didn't love the book. The 10 minutes 38 seconds refers to the dying moments, 10 minutes 38 seconds of a woman known to her friends as, well, so the first part, her nickname is Tequila. Her name is Leila. So I read that clearly throughout as Tequila Leela, because that made sense. That's why you give her the nickname. Yes, obviously she's drunk, and then I heard Elif Shafak talking about the book and calling her own character Tequila Layla. So I thought that was a missed opportunity. Sorry, Elif. It's uneven in tone. The book, the first half is these 10 minutes and 38 seconds, remembering how she got to where she got, how she became a sex worker, how her body is dumped and left or left for dead and dies. And then the second half of the book is her, and she's remembering her life and her friendships and her loves and everything that led up to this moment. And then the second half of the book is her friends stealing her corpse because she was going to be put in a pauper's grave, stealing her corpse in order to give her a proper send-off, and a whole slapstick journey of the body in the back of the car with the friends and deciding to bury her. And I thought it was uneven, but that cover has given me much too much stuff going on. And then the last book I'm going to show you is another interesting first novel, and this is My Sister the Serial Killer. Again, the theme of when you have a title that is too long, you're already going to cause problems. So on the spine, and the other thing, again, you have an author whose name is quite long. So on the spine, I think this is unforgivable. You've got My Sister the Serial Killer, and then Braithwaite is broken up over 2 lines. I don't know why you couldn't turn that. I think that's terrible. If you are a member of the Braithwaite family, I don't think you would be happy to see your name split over 2 lines like that. So this was a terrific book. I really enjoy this. I love the fact that it's giving everything away in the title. This is Death of a Salesman territory. My Sister the Serial Killer tells you from the off exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get someone whose sister is a serial killer, and that's exactly what the book is about, and the relationship between the 2 sisters. This is the one who has a sister is also a sister. So it's a really fine bit of work, a really interesting first novel. But I think cover-wise, between the neon green, this beautiful image of the sister, it's a book set in Africa, so you have a strong black female protagonist, and then you've got just that, I think, too much, the knife in the thing. I think that's too much going on. On the back we got, just in case you didn't realise, if your sister's a serial killer, you're going to end up with rubber gloves and some bleach doing some work occasionally, which is exactly how the book opens. Loved the book. I think it's really, as they say, leaving it all out there on the field. And that is my attempt at this tag. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know who to tag, but I think if you have a collection of books that you would like to talk about their covers and trash them, I think it's a great opportunity to do that. Did I give anything? I don't think we did too much of that, which is probably for the best, because a little of that goes a long way. So I hope you enjoyed that. Take care. Bye.